completely technologically limited. I'm literally I was operating off of two cell phones last time. Now I got three, so I can see if anybody's got any questions in the chats. We'll be more than happy to answer questions as long as they're not ridiculous. And we're here to inform. We're here to share the truth of what's really going on, and all the hype, all the news, all the outlets. I'm not sure why they glamorize it or make it something more than it is, but it's purely just a broken torture chamber. And if you kiss ass real good, they might throw you a bone. Isn't that true, Brant?
Absolutely. What's up, folks? My wife's telling the truth. My wife hit the nail on the head. Everything she said is legit. Ass kissers get what they want. Rats get what they want. And they manipulate the system.
Yeah.
So, how do you want to start this?
Well, I don't know. Somebody was asking, are we married? Are we friends? Are we?
We're married.
You want to tell them how we
We've
met?
been married for 10 years. We've been together 15.
Almost 6.
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
Okay, I'll tell them.
You tell them.
You want me to tell them? I'll tell them.
You tell them.
So, okay, I'll tell them. Well, while I was at Pelican Bay, I had a friend of mine who was my neighbor who had got on writerprisoner.com and was looking just for friendship, pen pals, and you know, ran across my wife, and my wife wrote him, and you know, he knew I didn't have nobody to write, and he was already writing a couple people, and so that's how I met my wife, Eliza Daniel, and from there on we became friends, and we got married a couple years later, and we've been solid since, man. 15 years now, going in solid. Till death do us part, straight up. That's how it's going to be.
Mm-hmm.
I'm working my way out, trying to get out the box to get on to my people.
Yeah, that's all it really is. That's all it's really been about. A lot of people think you are what they want you to believe you are, and who you probably were before I met you, but I've never seen you in that light at all. You know?
Right. Well,
you know, to me, you're just another normal person, another normal human being. I don't understand. Well, you're special to me, though, but
that's right, baby girl. That's right, baby girl. Well, you know, society believes a lot of the stuff in the news, and I can't control that, nor can you. But, you know, like to judge a person by a label that, or whatever, you know, they say I am or whatever, it's really ignorant. It's ignorant, short-sighted, and lowbrow, real lowbrow shit. But get to know me before you judge me. That's all I ever say to people, man. You know, and I guarantee you, their exterior and the you know, behind the tattoos and all the labels is not what you're gonna get. So, you see that yourself, baby girl, and most people that interact with me personally, and they have known me for years or just met me. Even some of these staff, they say, "God damn, dude, I can't figure out why the hell you're still in prison." I mean, I've had several of them say that because I carry myself with respect, honor, and dignity, point blank, and integrity, you know. But yeah, you gotta look past the label because the book ain't always what the cover looks like, right?
It is not.
I mean, that's just how I see life.
That's not, you know. I do say a lot. I say a lot.
And your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
to the
What's that?
prison itself. I do say a lot, and I don't hold back. And we managed to help a lot of people with fighting with the heat
Right.
issues and
Oh yeah.
the letters that I had to write to make
Right.
sure
Right.
that they stop just out and out torturing for torture's sake. You know,
Oh
calling it
yeah.
out.
Every year. It's every year.
Yeah.
It's every year. You've had to put in a lot of work on your end out there to make sure I stay alive with advocation against the system, against the torture chamber that they keep me in. You know, like last year, I'll never forget that, our vent was out and the heater was on. The actual heater was on. I live in a box within a box on the shelf in your garage, basically. And they put a fan outside of your garage. It's like being in the trunk of a car and you put the fan on the hood. That's just what it was. And I'll never forget when you sent them letters.
They were doing that stuff, weren't they? They were certainly.
Yeah.
Well,
Absolutely.
What do you want to talk about?
So, well, I'll go ahead and talk about a little bit. Somebody asked us a question a while back, about why I'm in prison and a few other things, right? And so I'll go in, I'll talk about some of that, I came to prison in 1995 and I opened up High Desert State Prison C Yard. I was the first bus into that yard. And, I had caught an attempted murder case in Sacramento County, and I ended up getting triple life, and nobody even got hurt in my case. It was the first time I ever had a felony in my life. Even as a juvenile, I never had no juvenile time. I never spent time in prison or nothing. I was 19 years old upon conviction, 20 years old on sentence. And, a shooting took place in Sacramento, and they said I did it against 3 guys. None of them got hurt. No medical attention needed. But because I wouldn't deal and I wouldn't plea out and tell them why I did it, and I held my mud, I wasn't going to rat. They gave me triple life. And that's the chances when you go to a jury trial. I went to jury trial and lost and was found guilty of premeditated attempted murder in the first degree, and which carries a life sentence, 15 to life times 3. So I came to prison with 15 to life times 3, and but within the case, all the prosecutor wanted was to get a win. She wanted a win so bad, she lied. She even told the jury to find me guilty. I'll only do a couple years, a little bit in time in prison. She told the jury that in the closing arguments. And, of course, my attorney objected, but they called it harmless.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
So the jury was under the impression I would only be gone for a couple of years. And they found me guilty and gave me triple life. The truth be known, I got triple life. So she lied. I have to call back.
Wow. Truth. Absolute truth. I have read the transcripts. They're ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. That they had found him guilty, other than, DAs do lie and juries are fickle. Very fickle. Hi.
All right, you there?
Yep, we're back.
Hi.
Hi.
Okay. So, back to where I was, after I got sentenced, triple life, I went to High Desert. And, first I went to reception for 90 days, and I went to High Desert. Opened up High Desert in February of 1996. And, I sat there and hoped for my appeal. Everybody gets convicted. You can only hope for an appeal come through, and most people don't win. But I didn't know that as a kid. I didn't really know nothing. And then my appeal came through, and it was denied. And you remember, I told you a while back a story where I was in my cell, and I'm on the top bunk, and I was sitting there thinking to myself, because there's a guy down the tier, a white guy, just pulled in, and he had turned out to be a rapist. And I had just found out that the appellate court denied my appeal, so I was done. I truly felt that, society, the system, and everybody else just threw me away. Think about it. That was my only hope I had right there, was my appeal. So now I'm in this hopeless situation, and this guy pulls up, and he turns out to be a rapist, a bona fide rapist, with I think there was close to 16 counts of rape on this guy. And I find out this guy got 18 years. I couldn't believe it. I just couldn't believe that this guy that hurt innocent women, and probably kids too, young women, got 18 years, and I got triple life, and I didn't hurt nobody, man. So, because it was being talked about that this guy had to go because he's a sexual predator. On the GPRs, we don't allow them weirdos. So at that time, that's the truth. That's the truth. In the day of truth, that reality sank into my mind and in my soul, that my life was done on the streets. It was over with. When I lost my appeal, and this guy down the tier hurt people, hurt innocent women, and at that point in my life, baby girl, I was truly on a different page. I had to totally rearrange my way of thinking in prison. And I'm like, okay, now I'm going to give society in the United States of America and CDCR, well, back then it was just CDC, because the R is bullshit if you want to talk about it, but it is bullshit. Back then it was just CDC. And I was like, you know what? They took my life from me. My first time to prison, I never hurt nobody. Now,
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Now I'm going to give them something to really bitch about. And from then on, my life just changed. It did. It changed. I ended up getting shot with the Mini 14 for race riots. There was many, many riots in High Desert back then. They shot me with the Mini 14. They shot and killed my buddy from Cocoa County, Johnny Pruitt, on December 26, 1997. They shot me and killed him. Same riot. And it's a shame that, when you feel like society throws you away as a kid, and it's your first time in prison, and you roll the dice to go to trial, and you get the trial tax, and you're going to get the max no matter what you do if you lose. They don't give a fuck about you, me, or anybody else. They just want to win. And I told you that before. So, but yeah, it was that's the day right there when I got my appeal, and that guy, that Rico, came up to High Desert. And I truly remember that day right there, because that's when it began. my life will never, ever be the same as it was when I was on the streets, nor am I ever going home. So I had to look at life like that now, that this is my new life in here. This is it right here. This is me. This is, I mean, I lived on the streets. I worked. I never got in trouble really.
And back
I had a
then,
misdemeanor.
lifers didn't
What's
get
that?
out, right? And back then, lifers didn't get out.
Right, lifers didn't get out. You're right. Under Pete Wilson, under Greg Davis, lifers was not. They didn't have a hope in the world. So I lived my life until I met you, until I met my wife, you, without a hope in the world. I didn't have a hope. And, you can't have a kid in prison without a hope. You do that, you create a different beast, man. And that's what happened. That's exactly what happened to me, baby.
Awful. There's a whole generation of people that have gone through it too, and society suffers for it in many ways, financially,
right,
socially,
everything. Yep.
In so many ways.
Because it could be the next kid. You know how many kids I've seen in prison come to prison for the first time, and then they destroy their life while they're in prison, but they don't even have a life sentence? It's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing.
And it's all set up to be that way, right?
Have a life...
It's all set up to be that way, huh?
Yeah. That's the exact agenda that they want. It's set up to be that way. Exactly. Because it's all about this machine, man. It's all about this... from the beginning of a criminal case to the corrections part of the criminal case, it's all set up for you to not have a fair shake, for you to be used as a pawn in prison and given a number. It's all set up for this monetary element, man. That is all they care about. That is all they care about.
That and money.
And that's what happened to me.
Money.
Yeah,
monetary. The more,
money.
The more, the merrier too. They can never get enough. They just keep taking more and more. There's nothing really going on in the programs. I mean,
right.
Look at this Norway, California model. It's a ruse. The whole thing is a propagandized promo. It has nothing to do with reality.
Agenda. No, it's all an agenda to make money. It's all an agenda to make money off young people, and a lot of people really don't have money that come to prison. Because if I had an attorney that was worth a shit, and he would have told me straight up, let's get you a deal, because you're not going to win this case. My attorney told me he got the case in the bag, because then he had nothing on me. So only 3 guys saying I did it. Oh yeah, and then when they took the stand, they wavered. They weren't sure. So, because I had a dump truck lawyer who really didn't give a fuck, he was just trying to write it off on a pro bono tax write-off at the end of the year, really. I became a fucking product of my environment, which is CDCR. I became a product of my environment. So I don't know if you remember, but listen, a few years you sent me a picture. This picture was of a werewolf saying, I won't apologize for the monster you made me. Well, that picture I kept in my window for a long time. But I realized, I ain't that monster. That's the monster they wanted me to be.
Right.
And you remember that picture?
Oh, yeah, I do.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Absolutely do.
It was a good one. Yeah, but like I said, back then, lifers were not getting out of prison.
So
in
you
the
really
80s,
had
the 90s, the early 2000s.
You had no reason to believe you even had any hope, right?
Absolutely. Right, exactly. Because there's guys that were in prison for life. They had been down 20 years, 30 years on a 15 to life, 20 to life, 25 to life back then. and they were never getting out. And so I'm like, here I am. I come in the system in '95, and I barely came in, and they're not getting out. I know I ain't getting out. And so, then all these years later, after I rearranged my mind and reset my path in life, I was told I fell under the Youth Offender Parole Board Act, the AB 261,
Right.
or SB 261.
Right.
And so after at that time, it was 23 years I was in prison and surviving the shark-infested waters I navigated through.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
After surviving all them years in prison with my honor and integrity intact, I had a parole board hearing for the youth offenders. And the lady that was the head of the parole board, her name was Terry Turner at the time. And she told me, Mr. Daniel, if you don't debrief, you are never getting out of prison. She said it shows that you are not reformed nor rehabilitated. You will never get out of prison. I said, well, I guess I'm here for nothing then. This is a waste of my time. And, then I'm going to die in prison because I'm not going to sell my soul and snitch on nobody. And she said, well, Mr. Daniel, that's over with because you're not going to get out because we demand reform and rehabilitation before we even think about giving a date to a lifer, especially an alleged member of a gang. If you will not tell me what them tattoos stand for, and you will not tell me what all you did in prison was about, everything you did in prison, you're not getting out. So I said this in response. I said, let me see if I got this right. I'm going to be thrown away by your system, put into a high desert state prison, level 4, the most violent prison in the California Department of Corrections at the time for 10 years. And I survive. I survive. I do what I got to do. I lose my appeal. I survive with my honor and integrity intact. And then 23, 22 years later, you're going to make some rule, some new law. And then you're going to give me a chance to get out of prison. You say this, but yet you're going to base it on my survival history in your shark-infested prisons? You're full of shit, I told her. I told her, you're straight full of shit. It's not about that, man. If you're going to judge me for what I did to get in prison, I get it. But don't judge me for survival in your environment you guys created to keep me in here. And she just said, well, do what you're going to do because you're never going to get out if you don't debrief. That's what she said, man.
Tell the people what the prosecutor said at that same hearing.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that. You're right. Thank you. The prosecutor chimed in through Zoom and or Skype or whatever the hell it is. Well, the DA that convicted me in 1995 flat out said on record she has spent 20 years of her life wondering if she convicted the right man and the right brother.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
She wondered if she convicted the right man and right brother between me and my little brother because my little brother was a part of my case. She said she thought I took the fall for my brother and she was unsure of convicting the right person. Let me call back.
Wow. So I'm beyond a shadow of a doubt, huh? Beyond a reasonable doubt. Yet here's the DA saying they had doubt all along and yet allowed him to be convicted. That's so wrong. That's just so wrong.
Thank you for using Global Tel Link.
Hey, okay. Well,
Okay.
we got somebody in our chat.
Okay. Hey now.
Charlotte
y'all
said
doing?
hi. Mike
Hi,
said
Charlotte.
Mike said he went to prison with an 18-month sentence and left 7.5 years later.
Man, Mike, that's how it goes, ain't it? It's a terrible thing, bud. It's a terrible thing. I've seen a guy come to prison with 2 years and end up doing life without. That's just how it goes, man. It sucks. It definitely sucks. Trust me. But I also want to go back to this thing with this prosecutor in my hearing. All right. So this prosecutor said she spent 20 years of her life wondering if she convicted the right man. Now let me ask you guys something. Isn't it true that nobody in that fucking courtroom should be more sure of her conviction than the prosecutor? You know? And it's like, how in the hell is this chick allowed to even tell my jury that I'm only going to get a couple of years to find me guilty so I can go think about what I did wrong? And then, at my parole board hearing, and it's all on transcript. You ain't got to take my word for it. I got the transcripts.
You got
She tells
receipts.
the parole board what she said.
I said we got receipts.
Oh, yeah, we got receipts. I cashed the check. We got receipts. And it's on transcripts. You know, and this is the system that they created. You know, and a lot of people that are you know, live in poverty or, you know, aren't well off with riches and shit, you don't have the ability to hire a $400,000, $500,000 lawyer. You know? I mean, if you ain't rich and famous, you ain't gonna walk. You ain't even gonna get a fair shake. That's just how it goes. But that's their system. From the beginning to the correction side of it. It's all set up for corrupt actions. Yep. That's just the truth, man. And it's a shame.
It is a shame.
I wanted, you want me, I think I'll talk about a little bit about Pelican Bay, you know?
Go ahead. So maybe tell them what a day it was like there versus what was a day is like where you're at now.
Well, okay, first of all, the design of the Pelican Bay shoe, where I was in this short corridor, was totally different to where I'm at now. It's so confined, and the restrictions and the security and the way the institution ran was very, very tight, very, very strict and confined. And so a day there, it usually starts off about 5 a.m. You know, you'll get up in the morning, you're by yourself in the cell, all concrete and steel. And, you know, the whole front of your cell is perforated holes. So it looks like honeycomb. So you get up in the morning, do your workout, you know, do an hour workout, bird bath, try to get it done and out of the way before the chow came, breakfast came. You get your breakfast and your lunch together. Then after trade pickup, they'll let the first guy out for yard. And the yard now, let me tell you what the yard was like. So imagine a shoebox, a size 10 shoebox of concrete. So this was our yard. The size, you know, it looks like a shoebox, but it's 20 feet one way, 8 feet across.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It's 20 feet long, 8 feet across. And you can walk around the whole yard with 19 steps. And it takes you about 130 oval laps to make a mile, thereabout. And so the guy, you know, first cell comes out on the tier. They don't cuff him or nothing. They shut his door. You know, he'll come by and pass a magazine or some food, and then go out to the yard. The yard door shuts. You know, he gives everybody, if I'm next, he'll tell me, hey, call me in an hour. So I call him in off the yard in an hour, then I go out second. And after everything works around your yard, so you go out the yard, walk some laps or run some laps, do your workout, whatever your program is to that person. Then I come in from yard, go to bath again, and I would either start a letter to you, write a letter to you or my mom, and watch a couple novelas, because yo hablo español muy bien, como Dios manda. And I got into the Spanish novellas a lot up there, because I was learning Spanish. And I got my GED up there. But so I was either doing something, I was studying, doing my workout, writing you, writing my mom, keeping my mind right and strong. And we just were like, at that time, I felt like it was either die, because I'm not going to debrief and I'm not paroling. And that was the only way out of the shoe. So then Mel came, and Mel's at the time, Mel was a big part of our life, because that's all we had with the outside world was Mel, from our families, our loved ones, or whoever. So Mel called, they'll walk in with the Mel account, which was a 4. They'll run their showers. Mel comes in at 4. And then after that was it, really. The day was over with. Chow came, 5. That was it. Day was done. And then at 5 o'clock, I watched from 5 to 8. I watched my Spanish novellas and speak Spanish with my buddy next door to me and shit, and do our thing and just stay to ourselves. And everything was the same. It was like Groundhog Day every day up there. But what I liked about the place was the camaraderie. The camaraderie, when they put us all in a short corridor, that I was able to see how tight people really get. And when you're going through the same type of situation and lifestyle as your neighbor or as the man above you, you really get to know who you are as a person and who he is as a man too. And being isolated for 10, 15 years in that one cell with the exact same people, you really, really get to know each other.
Yeah.
And that's just how that place was.
So how did you cope, I guess? I guess socializing with your neighbors and...
Yeah, coping with problems. Yeah, absolutely. Socialize. You only have 4 cells on the bottom, 4 cells on top. So you got 7 other men in that pod. Some people get along better than others. Some don't. Whatever. But if you got an issue or you're trying to figure something out, and you need some advice, and you got somebody right there you like and trust. You ask them and talk to them. And we all work together there. That's what we did. We all helped each other.
It's really a shame they didn't let you guys stay together to adjust to getting into a GP, because that would have been extremely successful. And it's obvious that success was not what they were after.
No, absolutely not. They were not at all trying to even think of a successful release into these GP yards. What they wanted to do was flood these yards with all of us and see what happens. And then, in my Rico case, we found out in 2016, they start making deals with the feds, unbeknownst to anybody. Start Rico indictment all these guys. Rico indictments. There's 5 Rico indictments right now.
Weren't they actually starting long before that, like way back during the hunger strikes?
They were, but it wasn't centered on us. It had some people's names, but it wasn't isolated in narrowly scoped. It was it was broad scope. But when we came out of the shoes in 2016, 2015 is when they rolled.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It's really is when they really ramped up the heat. Was in like January, February of 2016. Like I said on my last trip, our last live, when that email was sent by a DEA agent to the federal prosecutor Sacramento, Jason hit that. He wanted to take Ronnie Yandell down so bad his teeth hurt. And it's like,
and when,
we didn't know this way back.
When was that sent?
What?
When was that sent?
That was sent on February 5th of 2016. We had just got out of the shoot.
Wow.
Yep.
So that
we just got out.
That screams something out loud, doesn't it?
It's called retaliation into a vindictive prosecution. That's exactly what it's called. Well, let me tell you something, though. So there's also 4 other indictments in the state of California right now on Rico cases, federal Rico cases. And approximately 40 to 50 of them convicts were all housed in the Pelican Bay Shore corridor with me and some of my co-defendants on this case. I find it's not a coincidence that all of us are now Rico indicted after being let out. So there was a deal cut between the feds and CDCR back when we came out of the shoe.
No coincidence
there was some type of
whatsoever, huh? No coincidence.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
None, baby girl. None. And, it's what they did, man. And unbeknownst to us, on these lines at the time in 2016, we didn't know that. They kept telling us they were happy we were out there to stop the racial violence, stop the dumb shit, and all that other crap that came with it. And but while they were saying this to people, they were going around behind our backs building the case. Building a case fraudulent
and more. Creating
and
a
more.
case,
Yeah,
right?
they were building. They actually, listen, let me tell you something. They would create evidence, plant evidence, find evidence like it's newly discovered evidence. So they created it, they disseminated it, and they found it like it was all legit, and it was all created by them.
You heard that, folks. You heard that, right?
It's a fact.
It is a fact.
It's a fact.
It's a fact, and it's been proven over and over again, and it's going to get proven some more because they keep doing it. They keep creating situations.
And you gotta remember, hey, baby girl, go ahead.
No, I wasn't saying anything. I mean,
okay, all right. Well, I will. So you gotta remember, back at the time during the hunger strikes that we did, I was also going through a bunch of medical shit with my surgeries. Remember that?
It was.
And if it wasn't for you, I'd basically be crippled because Pelican Bay, they were going to let that back. I had a back surgery in March of 2014 that went wrong. And they were going to leave me in a fucked up state of being. And I had a doctor named Michael Sayre from Pelican Bay tell me to my face while I was chained up in the bed, hey, all you got to do is tell IGI what they want to know, and we'll fix your back. So just debrief, and we'll and tell them what they need to know, and we'll send you out and fix your back. And I told him to fuck off. And the cops were so mad that he came in to bother me.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
They didn't want no problems like that. That's how bad that place was. So I was dealing with that and the hunger strikes. And you know it, because you were the one putting in the work and advocating to help get me a surgery to fix the bad surgery.
Dealing with both. And then, the crazy thing is we were dealing with two things at once then. And then when this indictment came, COVID came. And COVID made it all so difficult to function. I mean, you all know how they locked us down and kept us from doing anything. Well, they were doing it even worse in the prisons. They wanted us to play along with their agenda or no visits. and it was a long haul. It really was. And well, here we are. We made it through. Hold on. Get him back here.
Link.
There you go.
I know. Okay, so yeah, we were going through a lot at that time, baby girl. If you remember, man.
Yeah,
And,
I was just telling the
that's when they're
people
home.
how weird it was that we were going through two things then, and then in the indictment, COVID happened. We're dealing with two massive
Right.
things then too. It's crazy how it just piled up on us. It really is.
Yeah, that's what it does, man. When it rains, it pours.
I guess
When it
so.
rains, it pours, man.
I guess so.
When it rains, it pours, you know. I want to comment on a few things real quick
Well,
that I heard recently.
the floor is yours.
I won't say by who, though.
The floor is yours.
Okay, so I recently listened to a couple of people talking about prisoners and convicts and CDCR and all this crap. And, you know, it's obvious that, you know, there's two lines. There's two sides to this trip, you know, blue side and green side. But at the end of the day, the cops trying to go home, do their job, and hit the gate. You know, do their 8 and hit the gate. Most of us got no problem with that type of stuff, right? It's usually the higher ups, the administrations that are more corrupt. You know, sometimes you find corrupt cops planting weapons. Like I went through it myself. They planted a weapon and said I was going to kill a cop. And then I do a shoe term, the entire shoe, and I get isolated in a housing unit I'm not even supposed to be in for the mental health, super mental health crazy dudes, and I wasn't even supposed to be there. So I come out of there, came back over here to the ASEG I'm in now, which is called RHU. It used to be short-term restricted housing. And I said this in one of my other videos. All they do is just change the name. Oh, it's not solitary confinement no more. It's this or it's this. It's all ASEG solitary confinement. Period. I don't care what they say. You know, it doesn't change the DNA and what it is. Well, you have these. You know, some of these the 115s. You know, it's RVRs, it's write-ups, is what we call them, write-ups, 115s. And, you know, there's damn sure not a fair process. You know, if a cop says it, they're going to find you guilty no matter what. You know, if a cop, a tier cop or any cop says X, Y, and Z, the lieutenant, the hearing lieutenant, you're guilty no matter what. You don't get a fair hearing. You don't have a right. You don't get nothing. It's just automatically guilty. You know, it's called what we call a kangaroo court. You know, and well, on this 115 I got in 2020, it's the only time I ever heard not guilty. I couldn't believe it. But yet, I had already been punished. They had already got all the punishment out of me as if I was guilty. So I ended up filing a lawsuit on it. I mean, that's still pending. But in order to have a fair hearing, a fair system, you know, for both sides, you know, evaluate evidence and all this other crap, that's not what they do. They automatically find any man guilty on a 115 hearing. It doesn't matter if the cop's a lying piece of shit. It don't matter if he's corrupt. It doesn't even matter. None of it. Even if his own colleagues say the opposite, you're still getting found guilty. Now, these 115s is what stops us from paroling at the parole hearings. And, you know, we'll 602 it. They don't care. They still find us guilty because it's all this system. It's all this system that's created on money. Money. That's all they care about. And, so I don't have a problem with them doing their jobs and going home. Hey, man, do your thing. You know, I know why I'm in here. I know what's up. You know, I got it. But it's like when you have people in prison that are going to go back to your sideys, right? You're going to go back to your down the street from you. They're going to be your neighbors. Don't you want to try to do something to help these people out? Like, especially the drug addicts and these people that, that are doing little bits of time here and there. Don't you really want to create a system that's positive and it's gonna help these people not reoffend? But see, that is not CDCR. That is not California Department of Corrections at all.
No, that's not.
They want you to reoffend. Right. They want you to stay in prison because you are a pay number. That's it. And while you're in prison, they will do everything possible to break your spine. They'll crush you. They want to crush you. They want you to have nothing good in life. They don't want you to have no one else.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
They don't want no one to, they just don't want you to have nobody in life that loves you, that cares about you. Because it's when you do, that creates a threat for their system, And thank God I got my wife, because I would have been crippled at Pelican Bay. They were going to leave me like that. And you know it, baby girl.
Yeah.
They were going to leave me with a paralyzed leg. Well, now I'm stuck with a paralyzed foot. At least my whole leg ain't paralyzed because it was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's their system, man. And they created this monster. It's a fucking monster, man. It's a monster. Like, I listened to a few other people talk, right? And it's like, I get it. You got your vision. You got your side of the story. We got ours. And you guys, they want it one way. These other people want it the other way. And we're caught in the middle of this old school versus this new school prison guard type of thing. And even convicts, all these people are just changing. Like I heard someone call them a barista. I call them the Facebook generation or the Instagram gossip generation. It's just it's a whole different shift in the prison system, and they want the public to actually think that they fixed the system with that California model or that No Way project. Me and you call it the No Way project.
The No Way
and
project.
It's all for photo ops.
Yep.
You remember that? It's all photo ops, man. But
smoking mirrors,
they want all these people.
Show, all of it. Mm-hmm.
Right. It's a fucking smoking mirrors. It's smoking mirrors. It's like, hey, public, this is what we're doing. Hey, look how we're spending your money. $19 billion per year. $19 billion.
Yeah.
That's not how they're doing that. They're putting that shit in their pocket. They're putting it in their pocket.
Yep.
They're putting it in their pocket.
How
you got a guy making let me tell you something. How you got a guy making $225,000 a year as a correctional officer? $250,000 almost a year, and yet a teacher gets $60,000 to $70,000 a year. Are you fucking serious?
They get like $30,000 a year for the younger students, which is an even harder job.
Yeah, right.
Because they're not only teaching children,
that they get that type of money.
They're hurting children too, because children don't like to sit and do schoolwork. They don't.
It's just the fact that I don't know about all that. It's just the fact that a tier cop is getting $225,000 a year, and a teacher in society is anywhere like $50,000 to $60,000 a year if he's lucky. How the fuck is that, man? It's insane. It's just insane.
It is. It most definitely is, and it's sad because.
Yep. Yeah, and then I got to tell you something too. I heard something a while back of somebody talking about a couple of the tier cops here calling other people rats. Cops calling other people rats. And here I heard it right here where I'm at, and it's funny as fuck because this is a cop calling somebody a rat. Man, you're worse than a rat. You're a cop. So it's like, what are you talking about? And I heard this guy here today. Look, I'm on the yard. I hear this cop tell this convict, hey, shut up, you rat. I ain't got nothing to say to you. And I just started laughing, man. I couldn't believe I heard this dude tell this convict, "Shut up, rat. I ain't got nothing to say to you."
So the cops
It's
are getting
funny as
involved
fuck, man.
in the prisoners' politics now. That's what that sounds like.
Oh my God! Yeah, absolutely, girl. Absolutely. Like they they play prison politics.
That's
They
crazy.
play it. They're worse than us. I had them when I first got here in New Folsom State Prison, STRH, as I say. I had 2 cops telling me, for my people, who's good and who's bad.
Huh.
And I'm like, who the fuck are you to tell me who's good and who's bad amongst my own people? And shut the fuck up.
That's fucking hilarious. That is funny.
That's insane, man. That's insane. Yeah, I mean, it's so bizarre. Like, I'm like, man, you know what, man? Just take me back to Pelican Bay shoot. That's how bizarre that shit is. I don't want to ever go back to the shoot. You know, I did my shoot time. I got 25 out of 29 years in the shoot. But, I mean, I don't want to, but fuck, dude, this shit.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Well,
It's so bizarre now.
I've seen some of the guards
I'd rather
on
be
visit,
around.
and I'm shocked at the decorum and lack of professionalism that they're hiring now. I mean, I get it. Tattoos are all the no, but I mean, to see somebody all face tattooed up with piercings
Yeah,
as a cop,
Yep.
that's just
Yep.
crazy,
Hey,
right
you ought
there.
to see. Well, you remember when you came to see me, and y'all seen that little chick cop escorting me? She was about what, 5 foot,
Right?
about 80 pounds. That's what they're hiring. That's what they're hiring now.
Oh, that's that
What
30
is
and
that little
30
chick gonna
thing
do?
that Gibson started before
Right.
she left. Man, she threw a whole bunch of weirdo stuff out there before she left,
God.
didn't she? She's
Yep.
like the reason
You
why
talking
the
about Connie
Norway.
Gibson?
Yeah, and then she leaves.
Right. Yeah. So she created. Yeah, she's the reason the Norway project is going on. She's the one that went to Norway, came back, implemented the system, and then resigned. You know, she resigned, and it's like, come on, dude.
And I've tried to communicate to
Come on,
some of those
man.
people on the board, and they're not interested in hearing from the public at all. There was
No. Yeah, because you're not saying what they want. You're not saying what they want you
I'm
to
not
say.
endorsing their bullshit.
not-
No,
you're-
I'm not about to either.
Right. Hey, you're not. Their opinion is not coming out of your mouth,
That's
so
right.
you don't matter.
That's
you know
right.
it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they want to hear their opinion coming out of my mouth. That's right. You know it.
That's how it is, man. And if you're not voicing their opinion, then you need to shut the fuck up and go sit down and continue paying their wages with your tax dollar. That's what they want you to do. It's bizarre.
It is bizarre.
Bizarre.
It's so bizarre.
Like I was saying a while back, they created this, let me talk about this S&Y system. I haven't even gone into that. I'll just touch on it a little bit. Well, from 1999, 2000 to 2020, CDCR created this S&Y vacuum, I call it. And, they scare these kids into PCing up. They scare all these youngsters. Oh, they're going to kill you. The big 4 gangs are going to kill you. They're going to do this. We can protect you. Just sign here. Well, the kid not realizing what he's signing makes him S&Y. Now he's S&Y for the rest of his life. He's got to go hang out with the chomos and the homos and the repos and the weirdos.
You can't un-S&Y, except that they're un-S&Ying the whole system, right? They've done that whole weirdo
Well, they're
thing.
trying. They're right. They have, and they're doing it at the lower levels, in some level 4s, by what I've heard. They started in Salinas Valley.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
Where I was when I caught that case for that fucking lame coming at me. Let me call back.
That's right. He did not chase anyone down. Did you not hear that he is physically limited from the damage done medically, and yet they want to say he ran somebody down? It didn't happen. Press is lying to you and me and everybody else about everything. Take a good look. Take a good look. You know what's funny is all the facts are right there in the court, on record. But in the press, they tell a whole other story. It's almost as if they want the public afraid. Imagine that. And it's not just with their Rico case, but everything. If you look around, it's just a big old scare tactic going on across the country. Come on, come on, come on. I can't stand hearing Global
Are you
Leader's
there?
voice. Yep, we're here.
Okay. So, okay, these new yards, like you said, the 50-50 yards. But let me give some more real quick on this shit, on these S&Ys. So they create this S&Y vacuum. Now the S&Y yards are like 20 times more than regular GP yards. And so these guys debrief, and they go join these other gangs in S&Y or these cliques, and they debrief again, and they debrief again, double time, 3 times debriefing. They're no good. I mean, it is what it is, man. You're not going to change it. So, and they're like looking at the GPs like, we're the bad guys because we don't do what they're, these guys are doing. And it's like, dude, I'll never do that. And so 20 years later, they realized, man, them fucking SYRs are worse than the GPRs because there's no structure. There's anarchy, complete anarchy. They don't give a fuck about nothing. And the guys that are over there were once over here smashing on rapos and chomos and rats, and now they're kicking it with them. Now they are them. So this system that Sacramento headquarters created of the SOI has now smacked them in the mouth 20 years later because it backfired.
Oh, imagine that.
The SOI yard is 50 times worse than the GP. So on the lower levels, they've already started intermingling GPs and SOIs, level 1s, 2s, and 3s. And I'm told, I can't be quite, I don't know for a fact, but B-Yard and Salinas is 50-50. That's what I've been told. They started on a level 4 270 yard, a soft level 4. Now, I don't know if that's true, but I heard. So, yeah, they're definitely changing it. They're definitely changing it. And when they start doing the level 4s like that, they're going to have massive amounts of problems.
Well, what do you think? What do you think their intention was, knowing how it went with the shoe release with the with the hunger?
I showered on the yard. Excuse me. I had to tell them I was good on the shower because I showered on the yard.
Oh, okay.
All right, go ahead.
But how, the way they released you guys from the shoe, instead of giving you your own yard to work out your challenges from coming out of that environment, and just throwing you into like these lower level with a whole other political structure. And now they're doing it. And now they're doing it to the condemned. That they're releasing the condemned all over the place in the same manner. What do you think their intentions are behind that? I mean, it seems so sinister to me. Failure.
It's failure.
Absolutely.
Failure.
And yet this was Newsom's idea, right?
Absolutely, it was Newsom's. All of it comes from Newsom and the director of corrections. What's his name? McCumber. Jeffrey McCumber.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that's his right-hand man. Now, so when they start doing this intermingling thing, they knew they had to clean up their backyard, clean up their mess with this S&Y slap in the mouth type of thing that they just fucked up on for 20 years. they made it so easy for dudes to flip. Just they go in there and tell them everything they want them to tell them and some. You know, they give the guy information, then he gives it back to them, and they act like it's new, created new information that they didn't even know about, but now it's reliable. But they created it, so that's the bizarre thing.
So
and we found out they do this in my federal Rico case.
They're structuring instances, pretending like they didn't know about it till they heard it, but from a third party that they informed. Is that what you're saying?
Absolutely. So exactly what I'm saying.
And the system? Is that what I'm hearing?
Exactly. That's exactly what they do. Create the problem, come up with the, react to the problem, and come up with the solution. All the while, taxpayers to put more money into their budget. Oh, look at this problem. And then they react to it, and then they come up with the solution. And the solution now is mix this all together on these yards.
The solution came before the problem, don't you think? They already had the solution planned out, and they're going to create a problem to apply.
I mean, it could be, but I don't have no facts. I don't have no factual evidence of that, but it could be.
Their intention,
big brain.
Their overall intention to take out people like the condemned. I mean, really, what do you think's going to happen? Remember that?
Well, there's only a handful of GP condemned, you know, and I mean, they put 900 of them right on level 2 yards, I guess. That's what I'm hearing, level 3 yards, level 2 yards. So here you got these people that were isolated for however long, and then they put them on lower levels. I don't get it, but whatever, man. It's just, that's what they're doing.
I read one headliner about that guy, Cook, that was killed just recently, that he was a condemned. But
I don't know.
That's the only place I read it. So, and you know, the press, you can't believe shit.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I don't know about that. I got nothing to say about that. I don't know.
No, I'm just saying, in the press,
you know,
I read I read a headliner that was calling him condemned, like one of the condemned that was released, and then he's dead. So that's the first I heard
This
that.
call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Right. I mean, I went down and set him up. I don't know.
Huh.
But their whole thing with that deep death penalty shit, you know, they're still prosecuting death penalty on people. They just can't execute. So it's like, why are you even prosecuting people for this? For society? To make it look like you're cracking down on crime, but yet you're gonna let this rapo walk the streets again? You know, you're gonna let some chomo walk the streets and hurt some other kid or hurt some woman? That's what they do. That's what they do.
It's terrible.
You know, and it's fucking bizarre.
It's absolutely
bizarre.
terrible.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, I don't understand it.
Again, I've never hurt no woman, child, or innocent person. I know that for a fact, and you know that, and my friends know that, and that's all that matters. But
well, no,
you know, well, for me it does. You know, I mean, I'm hoping society wakes up and starts questioning things and seeing how shit goes. You know, seeing how not what they're being told, but what actually is happening. You know,
right?
I really do, because like, if you put me in society, I don't pose a threat to society.
No.
I pose a threat to prison. Okay, that's what they say, but that's not the truth. No. They see a lot of bullshit. They see a lot of shit.
Well, they put you in a controlled environment and expect you to act a certain way, and when you act that way, they say, "See, he's dangerous."
Right. That's exactly what they want. Yep. That's exactly what they want. See, you're dangerous. Look, society. Look what we're doing over here. Meanwhile, while that other hand is coming under the table, getting billions and billions to put in their pockets for their overtime pay. That's sickening. Exactly what they're doing.
Absolutely sickening. And then they do things like put some really fucked up picture of you in the national news of you fucking beat up from bus therapy and expect you to...
Oh yeah, the one that they took me from Salinas to Corcoran to Pelican Bay and back to Salinas all in 5 days.
Yeah, and then they took your picture, and that's the picture that they're using on that horrible picture with the yellow background where you're like, nah. And that's your international photo. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
the
was
press.
I was probably pissed off over a 36-hour bus ride after spinal surgery. Yeah, I was probably mad. I wasn't a happy camper.
No. Not at
I
all.
wasn't a happy camper, man.
Not at all.
No, baby girl, you know I wasn't. But anyway, it is what it is, and I'm trying to, like, if I can help a kid that out on the streets realize that this ain't the cool life, man. The cool life is being home with your family and hanging out, barbecues, and go living the good life out there. I always tell people in prison, especially the ones that are going home, 2 things in life that that are absolutely vital to your existence on the streets: freedom and health. You got those 2 things, you can do anything else if you put your mind to it. And I've had, now this is the truth, baby girl, I've had 5 cellies in my 30 years in prison, 5 dudes that have parole and successfully stayed on the streets.
That's
and
awesome.
Now are business owners.
That's awesome. That's absolutely awesome.
Because I have a method worked out where you just do it, and no matter what, in 2 or 3 years, you get off parole and keep your head right, with your lady and your kids and your family, go to work, come home for 2 or 3 years, and get off parole, you can do it. And I've had 5 Shellys in 30 years do it. And one is a Lexus owner. He owns a Lexus dealership in another state. So it's like, how is that not success? And I could do this, and I didn't go to college or nothing, and yet they got all these behavioral scientists, these federal behavioral people who's in this think tank. They can't figure that out and help somebody. It's like, come on, man.
It's like they're not even trying.
Here I am, a prisoner.
They're not even trying to help anybody.
Yeah.
Well, maybe your advice did help those people.
Not.
Maybe they heard you. But, honey, you can't take credit for their success. You know that.
No, absolutely no. But my advice helped them. And every one of them have gotten at me, even before I met you, and gotten at me and thanked me for my advice.
Well, that's awesome.
And that made me feel good.
That would make me feel good, too. That does make me feel good.
It made me feel good that I was a part of somebody's successful release from this beast called CDCR, and they made it on the streets, have a family. One of my friends has 4 little baby girls and a wife, and is doing excellent, and he owns apartments. And it's a wonderful thing.
It is a wonderful thing.
And it's good, man.
It's an absolute wonderful thing.
And what I'm saying, if I can help one guy, I can help more than one guy, because they are in the system, but they don't want to. They don't want to. So,
Yeah, but
I try, and it's like
helping you get out without having to, sell your soul. And that's what we're about. Get Brant to come home
absolutely
without having to sell his soul. That's all.
Right? Yeah, I ain't gonna sell my soul for nothing. You gotta stand for something or you'll fall for anything.
Right. They took everything from him. And that's one thing.
The only thing they can't take from me.
Yep.
They can't take you from me. They can't take my honor and my integrity from me. I'm gonna have that no matter if I'm in a cell butt naked, with just me in a cell butt naked and concrete. I still got my honor and integrity.
There it is. Absolutely.
Oh, there it is. There it is, man. I'll tell you a little story real quick. There it is. I'll tell you this.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
let me come back and tell you this little story and we'll wind this on down.
All right. Yep. That's what we do. I paint and I help him, and that's what I do. It's a beautiful life. Huh. Oh, that and those great kids of mine. I love them to death. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't like to get blasted out by old Globalina there, so we can just keep it down. Okay. Okay.
You there?
We're here.
Okay, so let me tell y'all this little story real quick. Okay, in '97, I got shot December 26th. My buddy got shot and died. I was on the streets, in the streets hospital for like 27 days, 28 days. You know, I had a major surgery in my left leg. And from my femur to my knee is all titanium rod. Well, I get back to the prison. I'm in the hole. Now I'm charged for a murder. Okay, so while I'm in the hole, you know, the cops back then, they didn't wear body cameras. They didn't have cameras on the tier. It was a good old boy system. It still is, but it's just a little bit slicker. Well, back then, Green Wall was at a ramp at its high. It was all over California, CDCR, and so there were some problems between a white guy and a cop on some fucking lunch that the cop burned him out of. He didn't give him his lunch, and so he ended up cell extraction. Now, cell extraction, you cover your windows, and our policy for whites is the objective of this is to let them come in and put your hands on them. Otherwise, you don't do it just to get sprayed and then cuff up. We don't do that. So our thing was, once the paper hits the window, that's a wrap. It's on and cracking. Well, back then, they would spray you for 30 minutes with this pepper gas vapor, and then bust the block gun 5 times with these rubber bullets inside of your cell. And then they come in like 7, 8 deep. Well, I think it was like 7. And so me and my cellie extract. You know, like 10 cells of light. So we extract. I had just got shot I had just got out of the hospital like 3 months ago. I'm walking with a walker still because my leg is fucked up. But we still extracted. And this cop actually pulled my leg, trying to twist it and break it while I'm struggling with these other ones. And I kicked him in his face with my underfoot. And, these other ones are putting hands on me. I'm putting hands on them. And there are motorcycle helmets. You can't really do shit in extraction, right? It's just young kid stuff in prison, man. You're bored. You ain't got nothing else to do. You don't give a fuck about nothing. And, but back then, you do it. You get them. They get you. It is what it is. You don't even get a 115, really. You know, disobeying a direct order was what the 115 is, the lowest of the lowest 115, period. And so we extracted, it's snowing outside. It's ice cold. I mean, fucking freezing. They put us back in our cell, pepper spray everywhere, still on the walls, right? And they give us these big old thick blankets, and we're butt naked. So they leave us butt naked for 4 days, right? You know, they feed us on these little paper trays, and we got to use our fingers to eat. And, well, my cellie gets transferred. It goes to Corcoran. And again, boom, another round of cell extractions happens. The same problem. The cops did something to spur a white guy to get pissed off. And we cell extract. This time I'm doing it by myself. You know, and I'm fucked up. But I'm already beat up from the 4 days prior. But I didn't have no paper or nothing to cover my windows. So my neighbor was this black guy. He was a friend of mine. He slid his line around the corner into my cell and gave me some newspaper. So I can't cover my window. So I cover the window. Fucking cops come. Like, come on, Scoops, we're going to fucking kill you this time. That leg is coming off. because they all know I just got shot. They all know I just had a major surgery. And they go, we're going to take that leg this time. So they try to psychologically fuck me, right? Well, they come in on me. Well, first of all, they opened my slot and sprayed me about 5 times for 30 minutes. And I got 4 apples. I cut them apples in half. Every time they open my slot, I throw them from the top bunk at the slot. You know, trying to bingo with my apples. And, so they come in and they rush and they all fall on top of each other on the ground. Like there's 7 of them. And they're on top of each other. So I jump off the top bunk onto them and got out the cell and start fighting with a sergeant. And they yanked my leg. They tried to break my leg, and I kicked him in his face again. Same cop. Well, this time, now here's the kicker. They fucking cuffed me up, shackled my legs, and then shackled my cuffs and my legs together. It's like a hog tie. And they left me and my buddies in the day room for 22 hours like that. And you know,
are you
we were
fucking kidding me? 22 hours? Holy shit.
Nope, 22 hours. We weren't decontaminated from the gas. We were fucking beat to shit. I couldn't see nothing out of my eyes for weeks. Then, after 22 hours, Sacramento said emergency transfer, all 10 of them. They sent 5 of us to Pelican Bay and 5 of us here to New Folsom. And just unbeknownst to them, New Folsom was a win for me because I'm from Sac, and my family was here in Sac. And the first visit from my dad and my stepmom, they see my face. They're like, "Holy hell, what the fuck happened?" And I was happy as fuck just to be close to home, right? And I didn't give a fuck. I was beat up like that. My eyes were swollen shut and everything. I couldn't see shit hardly, right? And but I didn't get 115, and that's how it was back then. You get your money, they get their money, and it's over with. And nowadays, it don't happen like that. Nowadays it don't happen like that.
They try to hook you up with a fail every time, huh?
Yeah, it's all about a failure. And let me tell you, CDCR never does nothing good for a convict. They will never do nothing good for a convict. The only thing they've done that's halfway decent is giving us these tablets so we can correspond and talk to our family like I am now. That's the only thing they've done in my entire 30 years in prison.
I think they were bullied into it by society, by outside pressure, because they did try to take it away from you in that section. Did they not?
They did try to take it from us. Yes, they did. They did try. They gave it to us for 90 days, and then they took it from us. And
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
They wanted to make sure you were good and hooked on them for 90 days before they took it away. Make sure you knew what you were missing.
Right.
And then they took it away for no reason at all.
Well, right. They took it away for no reason at all. And then we did a hunger strike. 29 of us did a hunger strike.
Yes, they did.
And the warden came down the second day. And he said, "Please, man, what can we do to get you guys off of this strike, man? We do not want this," because he didn't want to have to notify the feds that the federal pretrial detainees were on strike at his prison.
Huh.
And he turned them back on because I'm here by no fault of my own in the hole. I didn't do nothing wrong. And yet he's punishing me. So they fixed it. They turned them on for us. They did it right. I'll give them that. That's it. But that is the only thing they've done in my 30 years in prison that's halfway decent, right? That's the only thing that's aimed at reform is this tablet.
Well,
there's no reform ticket or aspect to these main lines.
What about all this talk about schools and classes and work programs and that's on SNY yards. I mean, sometimes, there are some on GPs, right? But the majority of the main jobs, there's no vocations on GP. That's all SNYs. Really?
It's changed since I've been in the hole.
The webpage says that's a focus is vocational training. I guess everything that comes out of their fucking mouths is bullshit.
Well, if you can't fact check everything they say, just disbelieve it until you can fact check it. And then when you fact check it, where'd that fact come from? Was it planted by CDCR? See, that's how it is, man. That's how it is. Now, back in the days, baby girl, they had vocations on all yards. You know, they had good jobs. They had GED classes for people. I got my GED in Pelican Bay and went to college, some college. And, you know, but the way they did these main lines during the race riot years, you know, these lines were locked down 10 months out of a year sometimes because of riots. Well, these vocations in these PIA jobs were losing money, so they put all those on S&Y yards because they're not locked down for 10 months out of a year. So the only job really on a 180 is a yard crew, tier tender, or some type of clerk, or go to school. That's it. Unless they change it since I came to the hole in 2016. You know, I've been in the hole since 2016, October 29th on this one.
I know they talk a lot about satellite college courses or whatever, but I'm not hearing about a lot of people being able to access them. Hardly any at all.
Right, because, you know, like I've heard of a few guys talk here and there about that stuff, and I don't know exactly how that's working out there on the GPRs. I know they got some courses. You remember when I was in Salinas, I tried to get involved and go to NAAA, but I couldn't because I couldn't come out of my cell after 6 p.m.
Right.
You know, I was closed custody.
And you couldn't even take like
at 8 p.m., they let me... But wait, at 8 p.m., they let me walk to get my medication.
Yeah, that's crazy.
You see what I'm saying?
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I wanted to get in these courses and get these things so I can, when I go to the parole hearing, in 6 months later, I got something in my file.
Well, it was crazy
they wouldn't even let me do that.
Because they put you in that yard and they said you had to be close A for a whole year before you could participate in the yard. I mean, how does that even... No,
not in the yard.
No, I meant anything.
And not in the yard.
I mean, as far as programming.
Right. Yeah.
Program.
I know, it's stupid. It's real stupid. Right. It's real stupid. But yet I got to be in my cell at 6. That's what they said. But at 8 o'clock, to go get my medication, I get to walk on the yard at nighttime and go get my meds and stand out there for 15 minutes. So I mean, and their courses start at 6 p.m. And I showed them this on the 602, and they didn't want to change nothing. They're like, nope,
right.
maybe next year. And I even asked.
And you know where that was coming from.
Stuff. I said, can we...
You know where that was coming from.
I got involved on the Mac... I do. I got involved on the Mac Rep stuff, and I asked them, can we get something in the daytime for closed custody? You know, anger management, something. And they're like, no, we don't have the time. I mean, we don't have the funds for hiring of staff to come to our prison in the daytime. We're already paying at nighttime. So that I wanted to say that real quick.
It seems to me like they just absolutely didn't want to let you have any sort of growth.
Rebuild.
Any growth.
Positive programming.
Any of it. None.
Right. Oh. No.
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Again, it was set up for failure, man.
Right.
I said it once, and I said it many times, I'll say it again. Set up for failure.
Absolutely.
Set up for failure, man. They want everybody in their system to be S&Y snitches. And I ain't doing it. I don't give a fuck.
No,
I ain't doing it. And I tell you why. It's because when you have a man on the main line, it's like $90,000 a year to house that guy. Now, when they have a snitch on the main line, on the S&Y yard, it's $100,000 because that $10,000 is now added to the layer of protection because he's now S&Y. That's why they want everybody that way, and they do what they got to do to try to make it that way. They use them. They
And
They use them up, throw them away the key, and they lie. It's all
the
it's
same
all bad.
respect of
You have
the
60 seconds remaining.
the RHU, because it's even
What's
more
that?
added layer of protection. RHU, more security, more
What's that?
staff. The RHU,
Right?
yeah.
It's like it's like $20,000 more per year to keep a prisoner in the hole or shoot. And they call.
It's fucking ridiculous. I hope y'all enjoy paying those taxes. Hold on, we'll get there in a second.
Link.
Huh.
Okay, now.
So
Okay, baby girl.
on our chat we got somebody saying, we got me and you saying, people just do not know the torture these guys go through. We haven't even talked about the
absolutely
torture.
not.
We haven't even talked about
I haven't
the
even
torture.
dived into that.
Mm-mm.
No, I haven't even gone into that. And, I mean, look what I went through at Pelican Bay, man. When I had a back surgery gone wrong, and they left me that way. They weren't going to fix it.
It's true.
I'm sitting here, I have a fucking a sciatic nerve with another nerve coming off that to my bladder, causing me to, not have problems with urinating, and they were going to leave me that way because of their fuck up. And this guy tells me to debrief, and he'll fix the problem. That's the type of torture. That's real torture right there.
So
it's not the waterboarding type of torture you think of, or the splinters under your fingernails, or 1,000 cuts, but it's torture.
yeah, and it took a lot of effort on my part to get him the proper medical care, to keep him from being left butchered, basically. And it wasn't easy. It wasn't easy at all. I had to figure out some stuff, and there's this lady named Elizabeth that showed me what to do, and I'll be forever grateful for her. I don't know what happened to her. She just kind of vanished off the planet. I don't know if she's still with us or not, but I owe her so much gratitude for teaching me how to deal with these people. And she said, you ain't gonna make any friends doing this. And I was like, I'm not trying to make friends. I'm just trying to do what's right.
Trying to save my husband.
Just trying to do what's right.
And help my husband.
And it's been quite an ordeal. Yeah, we've been on this thing for quite a while. I think it's time to
okay, babe.
Save it for next time.
Yeah, I say let's go ahead and wind you down, man. I thank y'all for listening, man. And y'all have any questions, shoot them. Comments, shoot them.
Yeah,
whatever, man. Ask me questions and comments, man.
I got the chat thing. I got the chat thing figured out now. So please ask the question.